Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will get started here in a few minutes.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I see Liz is on video as well. We're going to give it a few more minutes as people are joining, and we'll get started here in a few.
I love your background. So festive.
Thank you. There's like a window over here, so I'm like, I do not want to show my window. Awesome. I do see more people are hopping on, so we'll get started here in the next 2 minutes. Thank you all. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect. All right, so we're going to give it just 2 more minutes while everybody settles in. I see we're still getting a few people jumping on. Very excited to present today for our final Latino Talks of 2023. And before we get started, I do want to let everybody know that this session is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, feel free to jump off. All right, lovely. I see it's settled down. So hello, everybody. Welcome to our final Latino Talks of 2023. And our topic today will be on Tradiciones. I'm very excited to moderate for this presentation. I am an active Hacemos member, and anytime I'm able to raise my hand, volunteer to do anything, of course, there I go and I will do it. So I do want to say thank you so much to Dawn and Alex who helped me schedule and put together this event. And of course, thank our participants and panelists today. I'll go ahead and get started on talking a little bit about Hacemos. As you all know, Hacemos is the Latin Hispanic employee group. They have been around for over 35 years, and the goal is to spread awareness, celebrate culture, and of course, help our Latin Hispanic employees thrive and succeed in the workplace by offering networking opportunities. Um, Sessions such as the Latino Talks, where we talk about our culture and promote our diversity and the rich tapestry that makes the Hispanic culture. Um, During the holiday season, it is definitely one of the most festive times of the year, especially for Hispanics. It really does bring a lot of our identity together, and it's very different throughout different parts of Hispanic cultures. So I'll go ahead and get started. Oops, sorry. I'll go ahead and get started by introducing myself. Like I said, my name is Antonia Martinez. I'll be your moderator today. And I work in the marketing space or the commercialization space under the Mid Market organization. And something I'm very excited about is celebrating the holiday season in Laredo, Texas. I am a border town girl, so I'm happy to go back home, try all the amazing food, and spend time with my nieces and nephews. I'll give the speakers an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll start with Alejandra. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. Feel free to share a fun fact and tell us where you'll be celebrating the holidays.
Thanks, Tony. So happy to be here. Thanks for having us. And so, hi everyone. My name is Alejandra Diaz. I'm currently a sales manager for the digital business sales. And in the past, I've managed account managers, territory sales, inside sales, and I myself have been a seller in the field. I've also done my time in operations and on the FirstNet team out in California. So my 8 years with AT&T have taken me a little bit of everywhere. I started in Atlanta, then in Houston, and then I went to Northern California, and then I came back to Dallas, and just to be closer to South Texas, which is where I'm from. So personally, I grew up Mexican American. I grew up in the Valley. If you don't know what the Valley is, it's not the California Valley, it's the Rio Grande Valley. And it's McAllen Mission. If you look at Texas, it's the little tip at the bottom. And that's where I'm from. I graduated from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, with my master's in business administration and management. And my husband also works for AT&T on the consumer side. We have an 18-year-old little boy who's my world, and a dog. Well, I have two dogs, a pug and a poodle. And that's my fun fact. My pug's name is Canelo, after the Mexican boxer Canelo Alvarez, because Alvarez is my maiden name. So for the holidays, we're going to be going down to spend time with the family in South Texas. If I'm not here, I'm always there.
I
And that's
love
it about
that.
me.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. That is such an original name, Canelo. Let's go ahead and hear from Elizabeth. Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, a fun fact, and where you'll be celebrating the holidays.
Great. First off, thank you for putting this together, and thanks to everyone who joined. It really is so cool to see how in such a huge company you still have so many roots and like things to connect with people through besides work and besides the professional landscape, let's call it. But super excited to be here. First day, my name is Elizabeth Madrid. I'm a lead product development manager. I work in our product operations space, a lot of our product launches, roadmaps, kind of what's going on at the enterprise and mid-market level at the most part. And I have been with AT&T not nearly as long as Alejandra has. I've been here for a little over a year and a half. I came in through the finance development program after graduating from Baylor University, SICM. I know Waco, middle of nowhere, I get it, but I still love it. It was still a great experience. All that to say, I joined right after graduation in June or July of 2022. And now I've been here up until now, and this is where it took me. I left finance a lot faster than I anticipated, but I'm very happy, and the amount of growth and connections I've made in my time in operations and product specifically has been amazing. A little bit about myself. As I said, I graduated from Baylor University with a degree in both finance and marketing. I double majored. Before that, I actually came directly from Honduras. I was born in Seattle, but raised in Honduras. My parents are both Hondureños at heart, and they refuse to move up here because they say everything is a little bit better in Central America, which I'll leave it up to them to debate that one. But as far as what my holidays will look like, I am so excited now with work and just being an actual adult, and not getting, summer breaks and December actual Christmas breaks. I get to go once a year because, as you guys can connect dots, I bet VPN and all those restrictions, I really have to disconnect when I leave. All that to say, I've been counting down the days, and I leave on the 22nd. I'm gonna be there for 2.5 weeks. And actually, I'm gonna spend Christmas in Roatan, my favorite island in Honduras and in the whole world. Another fun fact, just because you mentioned pugs, I do have a pug, and her name's Frida, after Frida Kahlo, because she's one of my mom's favorite artists. And she said if we were getting a dog, she got to name the dog, which at first I didn't like the name, but I grew to love the name after a while.
Love that.
Oh my gosh, Liz, I'm so excited. I can't wait to connect with you in the new year and see like all the photos. I've never been to Honduras, but it's been like one of the places on my bucket list. So I'm definitely going to ask for advice and tips on
Of course.
scheduling
Anyone on
that.
this call, if you need, I'll plan your itinerary for you guys. Just send me a text. I'm very
I'm going to
passionate
take you
about
I'm going to take you up on that.
it.
Let's pass it on over to Carla. Hello, Carla. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, a fun fact, and tell us where you'll be celebrating the holidays.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla Mine. I am Mexican American. My parents are from Chiapas, which is all the way south in Mexico. So it's not really known when I tell people. I haven't really met people in Texas that are from there, but it's a beautiful place. I love it. Our culture is very similar to Central Americans. They always think my mom is from like Honduras or El Salvador, but we're like from the south of Mexico, so it's very similar. I graduated from Brandeis University, May of 2022. I started with AT&T as a B2B intern summer of 2021. And then I was offered the full-time role as a B2B and the B2B program. After the program, I decided to stay in Dallas, and that's where I got the role in DSA. And I've been here since February. And been enjoying my time since, meeting a lot of people in like the organization and just connecting with everyone here in DSA. Um, what else? Oh, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. So I actually went to college in Massachusetts, which was very different. I definitely had a culture shock going over there. And after the second or third year, I knew I wanted to come back to Texas. So that's why I decided to accept the full-time role after I graduated and been reconnecting since my family since. So this holiday season, I'm excited to spend time with them since I wasn't here for most of my college years. It's nice to be back and reconnect with friends and just spend time with family. But yeah, we don't do much traveling. Unfortunately, my parents can't go to Mexico. So when I go, I have to go without them, and I'd rather spend it with them the holiday season. So I go mostly in the summers. But that's when I get to visit my family back there because most of my family's in Mexico. So I try to reconnect with them as much as I can. But yeah, it's pretty much what I'm doing this holiday season. Oh, and fun fact, I since we're talking about dogs, I have the white furry Hispanic dog that everyone has. Um, and her name is Cookies, and I love her.
Yes.
Even though she's
Oh,
basic, we love her, and
oh my
yeah.
gosh, Carla, I was like, I swear, if I vividly can imagine the type of dog you're saying, and I was like, if this dog's name is Firulais, like
Yeah.
it's over. Like it's
Yeah.
over. Well, since everybody used their pet as a fun fact, I will tell you guys, I also have a dog. She's a Chihuahua. She's 13 years old. Funny thing, she's a she. Her name is Flavio. Like it just, yeah, everyone's like, that's a boy. And I'm like, no, 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 she's a girl, but her name is Flavio. She's such a personality, whatever. We'll talk about pets another time. We should write this down, Dawn. We should talk about pets for one of the Latino talks of 2024. Um, but anyways, we'll go ahead and kick it off with the questions before we talk about food and fine arts, religion, and all the great things that really build and make up our holiday season in Latin America. Let's go ahead and start with something a little more anecdotal. So I'll start with Alejandra and then we'll pass it on to Elizabeth and Carla. Tell us, can you share a cherished Hispanic holiday tradition from your own family or community that you hold very close to your heart? And are there any specific customs that stand out to you?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to family traditions, as we'll talk later on, we have a lot in my family, but one that's a little, I think, common across a lot of Mexican American families, but it's not considered like an actual celebration, is the day before Christmas. About 10 to 15 of my aunts and like 20 of my cousins, all the ladies, come together at my mom's house, and we all spend all afternoon making tamales for the feast that's going to be the next day of Nochebuena. And this is part of like the most special part of celebrating Christmas back home, because we get to bond and laugh, and everyone's at their realest. My mom's getting after all of us if we're not smearing that masa well enough. And, it just makes it so much fun to have that time to bond with them. And then we have all the men doing all the, bringing in all the equipment that we're going to need to cook all this, and doing the hard work amasando. And so it's just a really fun pre-celebratory thing that we have going on. And I always love looking back at that. My grandma used to always spend that time with us, and she would I remember her little rosy cheeks. She loved being there and doing one leaf at a time, but that's always something that we carry in our hearts, that we always had her with us. And now we continue to do that, whether she, even though she's not here anymore, but it's super fun for us, and it's my favorite thing.
I love that. I can picture that. Like, I can put myself in that scenario. Like, I love that. Liz, what about you? A cherished Hispanic holiday tradition from your own family?
That is awesome. First of all, Alejandra, that was one of mine, but I'm gonna try to take it. I had a couple because I was like, I feel like some of these are gonna come up, like the making tamales and like the snacks on the 24th. I knew that was gonna come up, but
you know what
so I'm
we'll
gonna
have
take
to
a
do
different
then? We'll have to get together here before we all go home with our families and make tamales ourselves. That would
Oh my
be fun.
gosh. I will be honest, I'm more of like the charcuterie girl, and I'll take the L. I'm not good at making tamales. So if you can teach me, man, I would have such a flex when I go back home. People would be like flabbergasted when I'm like whipping tamales. So by all means, please let's make that happen to some extent. Mine's a little bit different. So one of the biggest parts of who I am. My parents come from very humble beginnings, and I used to be almost like a little embarrassed to talk about it, but now it's such a beautiful thing. And my favorite tradition is my parents have made it a thing that on the 24th, that's such a big day I feel like in this culture, it's a lot more used that 25 is like the day. And for us, it's 24. It's a lot more 24. 25 is kind of like the fun opening the gifts and like sleeping and eating leftovers. But on the 24th, we make it our job to everyone in the family pitches. There's not a limit. There's not a ceiling or a minimum at all. It's just whatever they want to. And we build these little baskets, and we go to my mom's hometown called Las Honduras, and we just give them out to kids. It's like little Christmas bags. We ask them kind of like what they want to be when they're older, and we take pictures, and it's just kind of like our very tiny way of kind of not forgetting where we're from, right? And these successes and these big opportunities to come here to get these crazy scholarships, these crazy jobs, you don't have to forget where you came from, right? And that shapes us. And it's something that I repeat, I used to kind of hide from people and not tell them because I didn't like showing where I was from, where my parents were from. But now it's such a beautiful thing, and it's honestly one of the things I'm most excited to go back, plus the beach and ceviche and beers, but still.
Oh, I love that, Liz.
Thank you. Appreciate
That
it.
is that's such a beautiful tradition. Carla, I know Alejandra already talked about tamales, and we'll talk more about tamales, but can you share a cherished Hispanic holiday tradition that you have with your family that's close to your heart?
Yeah, so when I think of traditions, the first thing that comes up is it was actually yesterday, El Día de la Virgen de Guadalupe. So that's a really big thing throughout the holidays that like my mom has celebrated ever since I could remember. And at first, like I growing up, I didn't really understand it. It was more so of like we go pray, we go eat good food every day for 9 days, and then the last day it's like this big party at my house. But as I got older, I realized like the importance of it and how much I missed it, especially when I went to college. I no longer was able to do like the novena with my mom, which is like she goes to every house for 9 different days, and she asks someone to hold the Virgen at their house, and then we pray for that day. They bring food, then the next day, next day, next day, and then the 12th, my mom does this big thing where she brings mariachis to the house for the Virgen, and then she makes tamales and she makes like atole, champurrado, and like all these things, and then everyone just comes to pray and like thanks the Virgen for everything they've had throughout the year, and then they each have like their own like prayers. And I feel like that's something that like I appreciated much more as I got older, because I was able to realize kind of like how attached I was like religiously. to certain like aspects of my culture. And when I went away for college, I remember me and my friend as well, we went to a Catholic church in Massachusetts, and we went for like the 9 days, and we were both like, oh, we miss our mom. We can't do this at home. There's no like parties. There's no food here. There's no like it's such a different environment, but I was still some sort of way able to connect to my culture in that way. So that's nice. And but yeah, the 12 we basically make tamales. Yesterday I took PTO because I was making them all day with my mom to help her for the rosary. And it's just a big thing that we do. Like my aunts can come help, and they already know like the 12th of every year this is gonna happen. My cousins are like, I've been waiting for the tamales all year for the 12 from your mom. So it's like a known thing that like everyone knows in our family that my mom does every year on the 12th.
I love that. Like, as you were telling us your story and like the significance of El Día de la Virgen de Guadalupe, it brought back so many memories. I will share with everybody, like, my family is very untraditional. Like, they don't like really celebrate like a lot of holidays. I know my family in Mexico from my mom's side they do, but like we were the only ones that moved to the US. Like we were the only grandkids that, grew up without my grandparents in Mexico. Um and my parents were always working. They owned their own small business and they were building it from the ground up. And my mom was always very busy, but my dad would tell stories about how my mom's tamales were the best he's ever eaten. And I'm like, Mom, why don't you make tamales? She's like, because I'm always working. And I remember our neighbors would always do the novena. Like right now that you were talking about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember maybe going to someone's house one time, like one year when my mom maybe had some time. One year I was actually in the matachines. So that's actually when like you go and you dance. And I remember going to church like every day for like a month or two to practice, and like we would go around with like the tambor and just dancing for the Virgin, right? And it was such a great thing. It was a rarity in my family, so talking about tradiciones throughout the holiday season is definitely something that I love talking about because when those rare instances happen, they were very impactful. But let's go. Thank you all so much for sharing your most cherished memory. Let's go ahead and move on to one of my favorite topics ever, which is food, la comida. Like that, I feel like makes your holiday season, right? As it is, there's so many yummy things, but Hispanic culture, like the cuisine is just, otherworldly. So I'm gonna kick it off with Carla. And for those of you, I know Carla, you touched base a little bit on this, but we were in the same organization for a while and we had a potluck back in August, and you brought some of your mom's tamales. And girl, those tamales were so delicious. They were like the best. So I knew that tamales were going to come up. But Carla, I'll start with you. Can you share a favorite family recipe that holds special significance during holiday celebrations? And you don't have to share your mom's secret recipe on tamales, right? But feel free to share any recipe you'd like.
Yeah, so definitely the tamales. And there's like I don't know if anyone has, well, there's different ways to make buñuelos, but the way like my mom makes it, it's like a dessert. It's kind of like a fried dough with like cinnamon and sugar. But those two are big ones throughout December. And I remember like making them since I was little because at first my mom would do them kind of like how you were saying, Antonia, like my parents were always working and busy, and they kind of found a way to like make some of these traditions a job for them and a way of income growing up. And I remember seeing it. I was like, oh, like I have to help my mom make tamales. And I was like, oh, this is so tiring. This is a job. But now I appreciate it so much more. And I'm like, oh, my mom's going to make it. We have to help her. We have to make food for everyone because if there's one thing my mom loves to do is cook, she actually also cooks for banquets. So she made it kind of like a hobby rather than seeing it as like a job. So growing up, I remember like we had to burn like like la hoja de plátano for the tamales, and I remember she would make me and my sisters like burn the thing, and like how Alejandra was saying, like, amasar la masa, and my mom likes everything a certain way. So she was like, no, así no, and we would get in trouble for not doing it right. So, like I said, growing up, I saw all that as a chore, but as I got older, I started to appreciate it more and help her more. And yesterday, or this past weekend, actually, because we've been preparing for yesterday since the weekend, I was helping her make the buñuelos. And funny that you say about the recipe because she was recording me like doing it and she's like, never say my secret recipe. And as she turns on the video, I'm like, okay, the recipe is 1 cup of oil. And she's like, shh, and she cuts off the camera and she's like, stop talking. And I was like, I'm just kidding. I was just making it as a joke for her. But yeah, I don't know. These moments, like I share a lot with my mom, especially since she likes to cook, and I feel like I've gotten um closer to her in that way, helping her cook and just making the tamales and the buñuelos. Those are the main things that I feel like I've bonded with her through. And it's just exciting to be able to talk about food with her, especially since she loves to cook and loves to do it around this time of the year as well.
Yes, I know. Oh my gosh. Tamales, obviously, I feel like it's like the most popular thing, right? But buñuelos, I have like one memory, again, rare instances where my mom was making buñuelos and I'm like, what's this? And my dad was like mixing the sugar and the canela, but like the sugar from Mexico and the canela from Mexico because it tastes different and oh, so good, so delicious. I'll ask Liz and Alejandra because I know we have other things we want to talk about, but want to ask you ladies, is there maybe like a food that maybe you didn't like so much when you were little, but now you've learned to appreciate now that your palate has matured? Liz, I see you nodding your head. What food was that?
I'm ready. First off, just hearing y'all talk, I signed up for my workout class because it reminds me I'm about to go put on at least 8 pounds in the next 2 weeks. And I'm not even being like dramatic about that, guys. I've just realized if I lose it before, I don't feel it as much. I'm like, it's okay, it cancels out. But it's
Girl
okay.
math.
That's a side note. But you guys talking about
Lord.
buñuelos, I was like, I gotta go run. I have to go to Barry's today, like today. So thanks for sharing. That sounds, oh my gosh. I feel like we all need to hang out, guys, and mostly for me to learn from you guys because you guys have all the recipes down. I don't know what to do with myself, but
No, that's the
I'll
thing.
go.
The moms don't share the recipe, so we'll never be able to make it without them.
Maybe we can
Even
all
leave the house.
brainstorm and come up with a couple fails, but maybe one good one for something. That's what I'm thinking based on like all of our knowledge. I'll go a super different route. My families were both raised by the ocean. My mom is from the Atlantic, like border Atlantic Ocean, and my dad's from Pacific. So seafood was always such a heavy thing. Obviously, as a kid, I can only imagine people are trying to give you raw stuff every day, guys. I don't know, but I wasn't ready for it. But now it's actually become a tradition. I don't know if everyone's aware with what ceviche is, but it's just pretty much like raw fish and pico de gallo lime deliciousness. I used to not like it at all. Now my dad had to learn how to make it because he was spending so much money taking me out to eat it that he learned, which was like his biggest gift to me, probably my favorite gift, that he learned how to make Peruvian authentic ceviche. So I'll say that's something that we eat an absurd amount during the season that is not very common. I feel like it's not a dish like a tamal that you think about, but to me it's like an automatic. Like I know I'm gonna be indulging in a bunch of that. So that's mine. I don't know. I'm curious
Ooh.
to hear the other one, to hear Alejandra's.
Well, mine's plain and simple. We did it for Christmas, but I asked for this for every birthday too. So that's how much I love it. Pozole. My mom's pozole.
Oh,
You can think you've tried the best one, but I've tried so many and I still go back to hers being the best. So pozole is my jam.
Alejandra, I'm gonna be in Laredo and Laredo to like the valley area is only like a 2.5 hour drive, girl. I'm gonna go try your mom's pozole because
You
I
should. You know what? That's something funny. Every Christmas we have somebody's friends that come to Christmas because everybody likes to bring their friends to experience our family Christmas. So you're always welcome.
I'm gonna take you up on that. All right. So we have so many more other things to cover. I know we can talk like literally just about food. Yes. But now let's move on to fine arts. Like just the fine arts in the Hispanic, culture is so significant with, dances and like, music and just artistic things. So I want to pass and start this, a topic first with Liz. So Liz, this question is for you. Are there any specific instruments or dance styles that are uniquely associated with like your Hispanic holiday traditions? And how do they contribute to the overall atmosphere? I'm curious to hear about this, especially since you're starting with Honduras. You're on mute. Okay, you're unmuted.
I caught it. No, but I actually asked my mom about this one, guys, and she had a lot to say. You guys can't see it, but I was like, I feel like I need a little bit of inspiration. But the one that kept coming up is called punta. The way that I would describe it, it's so hard for me to describe because there's so many different dance styles, let's call it. But I like to call it's like a tropical Caribbean, like upbeat salsa. Do you know what I mean? All that to say, it's my mom used to be a dance instructor, so she's very passionate about dancing. But in my Christmas, like if there's no karaoke and a lot of dancing, and when I say dancing, I do not mean funny dancing one song. No, I mean like 4 hours sweating. I need to stop type of dancing. That is such a big part of my Christmas, and I think music and specifically punta, which I did my best to describe, but if you guys want to go look it up, I could send you guys some examples. It's pretty intense music, but it's so upbeat. It puts me in a mood, and I think it does impact so much how the night goes. Versus whereas here, I feel like I hear more mellow songs, feel good songs. I guess I'm comparing directly like my Secret Santa with my friends, and then like my Christmas in Honduras. So it's kind of hard.
Silent night to your
Yeah,
music.
yeah. Mistletoe, Santa baby. I'm like, this is wholesome. The other one, I want to get up and like move and dance. So yeah, but I do think it impacts so much like the ambiance. Of course, it gets people moving and big part of who I am for sure.
I love that punta. I'm gonna do a YouTube search on that one because
Please do.
I can imagine it. You said salsa, but like very like upbeat. I'm definitely gonna look into it.
Yeah, a lot of like bouncing and stuff. I don't know. It's cool. Just look it up. It's hard to explain for me.
Okay. Wow, definitely. I love that I just learned something new and a completely different, like a new dance style. So I'm gonna look into it. Alejandra, can you recount a memorable experience where music or dance played a central role in preserving and passing down cultural traditions within your family?
Tony, it was interesting to think about this one. And earlier you brought it up, the matachines, right? So for those of you that don't know about matachines, I'm Catholic and it's a big part of our religion. And basically these are dancers who express their faith and they worship through dance. And so I also was one when I was little, when I was in CCD, and they made us the outfits and we had the maracas and everyone laughed at me because of that dance. I was just like two to the left, two to the right, and then we'd like shake them. So it was like, I always remember. But there's various approaches to what a matachin is. And basically what it originally represented was like the fight between Christianity and paganism. And people express their faith through this dance. And so whenever we're talking about the novena and La Guadalupana, we do like pilgrimages. And these people, like 18 to 50, 20 to 50 people will dress up in these beautiful gowns, masks, feathers, jewels, all this fun attire, and they'll do pilgrimages to eventually worship, Lady of Guadalupe, or celebrate the Lady of Guadalupe. And then during the actual Christmas period, instead of doing the pilgrimages where they walk miles dancing, and during the Christmas season, what they do is they have like acts, and it's like una obra, right? And they do like these like dance rituals against one another, and it's supposed to be depicting the Virgin Mary who's like asking them to slain the bull, and the bull represents paganism, and at the end, the success represents that we are accepting of Christianity. So during the holidays, sometimes when we would go visit my grandparents in Coahuila, there, like, because it is really in Mexico, they do the most beautiful things, and sometimes it was even scary because they have like these like scary like devil masks, and then you have the other people who are fighting to attack that. But overall, this is a really significant tradition of having the matachin dancers represented in the Catholic Church and in our Mexican tradition. So that to me was the one that stood out the most.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear all of that. And I know it's something that played a huge role in your life, and I can't wait to see you passing that on, and continuing the importance of that. I actually just had like a really good lesson, like history lesson on what it all meant. I just remember dancing. Like I all of this that you just explained was Like, okay, wow, I learned something very significant
If you
today.
know me, I'm always like, but why? Why am I going to do that? So my parents had to give me an explanation of why I was going to be dancing for miles. So this is how I came to understand all of this. And interestingly enough, one of my dad's cousins, who she just passed away about 4 months ago, she was a matachine for life, and she had all these beautiful costumes. And that's what, like, I was like excited once I saw that she did it too, that I had done it. And so when I started at the church doing it, she gifted me one of her outfits, so I still have it there. And her name was Tia Tune. So rest in peace to her. But that was a big part of her life, and so that's why it meant so much to me to understand it, because I thought it was so neat that she did that every year.
I love that. I love that. I
Hmm.
do remember the outfits. I remember my mom and I having that like bonding moment of like decorating it like with a sequin and jewels and everything. Yeah, that was a very special time. So, since we're on the topic of religion, I know it plays a huge part, as we've heard. There's many different religious celebrations within the holiday season. I'll go ahead and start with Carla with this question. How does your family integrate religious practices into your Hispanic holiday celebrations? And what specific traditions hold significant meaning in your household? You're on mute, by the way. Yeah.
Yep, just yeah. So, as I was saying, like, similar to Alejandra, like I'm Catholic as well, so that was a very important part of like my culture growing up, especially with like the Virgen and just like having to go to church on Sundays and doing like the confirmation, the communion, and like going to like church school and all that. Um, and I feel like that again, that's something that I learned to kind of also navigate on my own as I wasn't with my parents anymore. When I went to college and I had to kind of like um fall back on like my own faith that I had and use that to kind of push me like no longer having like my parents to for like not force me to do things but kind of like push me to do it. And because I grew up with like that faith and like those culture that those values, decided to also do it on my own and kind of like do that as a way to stay close to my culture, especially over there, since it was harder to be around Hispanic people or like a Hispanic community. That was kind of my way to stay close to like my beliefs and my people. So again, I started going to church on Sundays over there a lot. But basically here during the holidays, what we do in terms of like religion is even like on the day of Christmas is like the rosario for like the Niño Dios, and then having like those traditions like having like the godparent. Like my mom bought three Niño Dioses, and she made my like me and my older sister and my little sister like the madrinas for them. So on the 24th, like we have to rock them to sleep, and we have to like put them like on the altar and all that. So all those traditions is just part of like the holiday spirit as well. And just throughout the holidays, also just like praying like before we eat dinner, kind of like saying what we're thankful for in terms of like on Christmas, on New Year. So that kind of just becomes as part of the holiday traditions as well. It's kind of how we stay together and connected to our religion.
I love that. I actually in the rare instances where I would spend the holidays in Mexico with my grandma, I remember being a madrina for the Niño Dios. And yes, I remember rocking the Niño Dios to sleep, putting them in the altar, and then I think you also like vistes al Niño Dios, right? Like you have to dress. Yes, I remember that. That was definitely a huge part of it. In one year we did stay also for El Día de los Reyes, which is the Day of the Three Wise Men. And I remember, like, obviously back in the States, my family would be like, let's buy a rosca and see who gets, the Niño Dios, not understanding like why we did that. I'm like, oh, we're all just gonna eat pan dulce and like play a game, see who gets something in their bread. But actually understanding the importance of it and the significance of it was actually really nice. So I know religion definitely plays a huge part, right, in the holiday season. This next question is for you, Alejandra, and I don't know if you can share like a particular like ritual or ceremony that is central to your holiday traditions and explain its significance.
Yes, absolutely. So Carla touched a little bit on it. So every Nochebuena, which is Christmas Eve, we have all of the kids in the family. My uncle from Monterrey got all these costumes made. So we have the Virgin Mary, we have Joseph, we have the angel Gabriel, we have the three wise men, and all the kids dress up. And then we do a pilgrimage, que es una posada. And the posada basically represents like Joseph and Mary's journey from Bethlehem to Nazareth to go find a place to safely deliver baby Jesus. And so what we'll do is we'll split half of the family up. Half of us will go outside. And it's a little silly because to try to get all these people coordinated, I mean, y'all can imagine. And the other half stays inside. And what we do is like, oh, we'll start at the side of the house over the fence and like we'll ask for them to let us in, and we're singing, right, the song. And the kids love this, let me tell you. They beg us to do this every year. So it's so beautiful that they actually enjoy it and they're starting to understand the meaning of it. So we'll sing from one side, ask for them to let us in, that we need a place to stay. They say no, like we can't. And then we move to another spot of the house and we do this again, and we'll keep doing it around the house until finally we get to the main door and we ask one more time, can you let us in? And then the people inside will say, oh, we didn't know you had the newborn king, come on in. And like, so they let us in, and then it's a big celebration. And at that point, the madrina or padrino of the baby Jesus, which is usually one of the little kids, will get to rock the baby. Everybody kisses the baby, and then we put him down in the manger. And it's just such a sweet part of it. And then we'll pray a rosary and then go on to the dancing after that, right? But yeah, that's a huge part of like our night celebration of Christmas Eve.
Ay, posadas. I love posadas. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's definitely a family effort, a team effort. And then I love that dressing up. I remember I did that once. I think it was like for an elementary school play when I was in Catholic school. And yeah, I remember it vividly. I think I was Mary. And yeah, I remember just looking down at the baby like in major. Like I was just there,
Yeah.
like
It's
super
so
cute.
fun now that we have the baby to have him incorporated. He was actually a part of it last year, and you probably saw it on Instagram. It was so nice, and I just thought it was. I'll try to find a picture and show y'all real quick so you can see all the outfits, but lots of fun.
I love that. I love that. While you look for that photo, I do have a question for Liz. This is more of like general, but on the topic of traditions and how they change and how they're different. How have your family's Hispanic holiday traditions evolved over the years, and what aspects have remained constant?
Okay. I think the biggest thing that's changed is by nature, um, Honduras is our home base, but we have such a big family, and I feel like you guys have touched base on this, like a bigger family than I think the average family. So it's kind of hard to get every single person back to Honduras. The older we get, the more people move out, build their lives. So I guess what's changed is more who is present. Like obviously, like at times we have Christmases where certain of like uncles that we're super close to can't make it for X, Y, Z. My sister's not flying down. She's getting her master's in Barcelona right now, and it doesn't make sense for her to fly down. All that to say, so I think that's what's changed the most, which I don't love. But what I do love is that a lot of what I mentioned of like our giving back, that's been happening for a decade, and I can't see that stopping. Like I don't see that ever stopping. The karaoke, if you don't want to, you get forced into it. So I guess like the dynamic of what the night looks like and what the leading up looks like. I don't know if your families are the same way, but they're very. This is like they don't like to even think about switching it up. We love what we do. We love our giving back. We love our prepping. We love our karaoke, our gift exchange, all that good stuff. So I guess that would be my easy answer to that. I don't know if I have specific things to call out, but yeah.
Well, I love that. It's very different. I know we've touched base on like El Día de la Virgen de Guadalupe, on not Año Nuevo actually. We've touched on like Nochebuena and Día de los
Joanna.
Reyes. Yeah, I wanted to like mention like something that has evolved for me is Año Nuevo. So like um that when we would usually go to Mexico for the new year, and
Okay.
my family would usually make ponche, and the men would make discada, which I can't really explain it, but it's like all these different meats cooked like in this big wok looking thing and fire, super delicious, spicy.
Sounds delicious.
So yes, yummy. But then as we got older, you know, we were all like, oh, we can't really go. We wouldn't go every single year to Mexico. So I started spending the new year here with a few friends, and her family would do the 12 grapes, like one grape for each month. She would always tell me, like, you're gonna come over, bring a dollar bill, bring some luggage, like, bring all, like, you know, whatever. So we would do the grapes. And then we would grab the luggage, and this is so that you could have like safe travels throughout the year. We would grab the luggage and walk around the block. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is weird. Like, I
Oh
would
my
just
gosh.
follow, right? But that one. And then the dollar, you're supposed to put it, I don't know if it's like the left or right foot, but you put it in your shoe throughout the entire night. And that's so that you could have money like coming in like every like that year. And then you're not supposed to spend that dollar. So like I've had that same dollar bill. Like I had someone fold it into a heart. I wear it in my shoe. I think it's the left one, but I just wear it in my shoe every single New Year, and I'm like, I need this money to come in, you know. So that's one
That
That's why
is
dollar. So
Tony's making the most sales all the time. That's her lucky dollar.
That's a but I just remembered the one. There's also one where like my sister did last year where you sit under the table and you're supposed to get a boyfriend the next year.
Oh
I have like a
wow.
picture of her like sitting under the table and she's like waiting for my boyfriend.
They literally,
Yeah.
there's also the one where like depending on like the color of undergarments you wear, like if you
Yeah.
wear red, it's like for love or I don't know what, but yes, it's definitely like so many different um I guess even for the new year, how like we go all out, right? And it just brings everybody
Mhm.
together, which is something that I love.
Yeah.
Guys, so we're coming up on time. I want to like wrap this up in like a little challenging way for you guys. I know we've been talking a lot, but I want to do a little rapid fire session where I'm going to ask a question. It's for all three of you, but we're going to go around the horn, Alejandra, then Elizabeth, then Carla. It's a one-word answer. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and respond before I'll give you guys my answer, and then I'll ask the following question. Are you guys ready? Okay, we're starting with Alejandra. What's your favorite dish? One word. What is your favorite dish?
Pozole. Pozole.
Eliz?
Ceviche.
Carla?
Tinga.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys kind of left me stumped, but like I also love pozole. I love pozole and tamales. Okay. I like literally defeated the whole like rules of the game. I said like so many
The
words.
one word answer.
I know, sorry. Okay. I'm gonna follow my rules. Okay, next question, Alejandra. We'll start with you again. What is your favorite thing to do alone?
Reading.
Liz?
Running. Working out.
Carla?
Yeah, working out, lifting weights.
I'm gonna say sleeping.
Oh.
Well, like literally, like leave me alone. I'm gonna sleep. Like that's literally like I'm hibernation mode. Anyway.
Your
I
poor
don't do that
boyfriend
anymore.
slash hubby.
What is your favorite thing to do with family, Alejandra?
Play games.
Liz?
Oh, sorry. Dance.
Carla?
Watch movies.
Karaoke. So, which festive day are you most looking forward to, Alejandra?
Nochebuena.
Liz?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve slash Nochebuena.
Okay. Carla?
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
I'm gonna say Año Nuevo.
I
Like,
can see that one coming.
I already told you guys, like, you know. Okay, in one word, summarize what you wish this holiday season will bring.
Warmth to everyone's heart.
Oh, love that. Liz?
Joy.
Love that. Carla?
Um, happiness.
Love that. Okay, my
Cinnamon.
word is gonna be togetherness.
Mhm.
Yes, I feel like we're always running around everywhere. It's like I just want all of us to be together for once and enjoy the moment. So we're gonna wrap up. And then super quickly, before I ask you guys the final question and we wrap everything up, I do want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. It's been a pleasure just being a part of this and being able to share a little bit more about our culture. And then there is a little fun surprise for everybody. There is some trivia, so feel free to scan that QR code so that you can participate in the trivia. Whoever answers first, I'll throw in a little surprise. We discussed a lot of it during our conversation actually today. So while everyone's working on their trivia, I'll go ahead and ask our final question and close this out. We'll start with Alejandra again. Can you reflect on how these cultural practices have influenced your values, perspectives, or the way that you navigate the world in your daily life? It's the same question for everyone. We'll start with Alejandra.
I think really for me, it is who I am. It's what I believe. It's what I portray to others. It's the way I like to carry myself, and it lives with me, right? Like if you know me, you know me. Like that is who I am. Right? Like my whole family, my culture, my religion. It's what I live by, and to me, it also represents, like I said earlier, carrying those of our past families who have gone, carrying them with our hearts through these traditions. They live on. So that's it for me.
I love that. Liz?
Yeah, I feel like you did a great job there. I'm gonna try to piggyback off of it just a little bit. But I think, yeah, I look at things that to me were just, oh, that's what I do when I'm home. And now I see it, and it's directly shaped who I am. I mean, my energy comes from my mom's sass and my dancing and then forcing me to karaoke every December since I was like 4. I see my values. I see where I come from. I see how much I care about now being someone who is there for people, who establishes hope. I see a lot of not who I am, but who I want to emulate and who I want to become. And it is so directly shaped to my parents' reality, to their past, to what they hold closer to their heart, to what they've exposed me to. And what's crazy is what I mentioned before, that some of the things that maybe a decade ago were, oh, whys, or why do I have to do this, or this is cringe, I don't want to be here, or whatever, or I want the next best thing, are now the things that I look up to and want to do the most every single year. So that I'll piggyback off that. But Alejandra, great first statement. I think you have to
Me
live by,
too.
never forget where you're from.
I love that. I love that, Liz. Very true words from both of you. Carla?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think what I've said throughout this all is like I've learned to appreciate much more like my culture, and kind of like how Liz and Alejandra were saying, kind of understand the person it made me today and value everything that my parents have taught me, and just learn to makes me want to pass that on to like my kids and continue those traditions and continue like that culture, and just be like grateful for everything that I've learned, everything that kind of has made me like both hardworking and responsible and all that in terms of like culture and religion, and just want to spread it how we're doing today and continue to do it as we get older and kind of pass on those traditions.
Yes, same here. Like I will say, as somebody again that had these very rare instances growing up where like my family wouldn't really be very traditional in a very untraditional way. The few times that I got to spend the holiday season with my abuelitos, my tias, my tios in Mexico, and just like really get to understand and have like a deep dive as to why we all gather around the table to make tamales, like why we use that time to like emphasize teamwork, but like also like share our values, our perspectives, share what we learned at church, or like what the essence of the holiday season is, right? Um, all of that has definitely shaped me. It's definitely given me the perspective of I want to continue celebrating my culture. Like I want to pass that on to my nieces and nephews for now. If one day I have children, I want to pass it on to them. You know, I want to make sure that like my culture, the true essence of who I am and what my like ancestors did and why it was so important is continued to be celebrated, right? And I feel like any chance that we have, especially like in our professional lives, in our professional, personal lives, to celebrate our identity is very important, right? And we've learned that, I guess, on ourselves, right? Like, by ourselves. Like when we were young, we were like, oh my gosh, it's like not embarrassing, but oh, I don't want to like do this. Oh, I don't see the importance. But now that we're older, we're like, wow, like my identity, my authenticity, my background is just so important. And not only is that important, it's even more important to share that with the world. So I do want to say thank you all so much for sharing. I know we have a few minutes. I don't know if anybody in the audience has a question, or you want to throw it in the chat, or you want to go ahead and unmute if you're able to and ask us. But if not, I do see Alejandra, you shared the photo, which I love. Oh my gosh, your son looks so adorable.
He was only 6 months old there, and this year he's going to be 18 months on Christmas. That's insane.
I love that. Well, if we don't have any questions, thank you all so much. Felices fiestas is how you say happy holidays, right? If we don't speak before then, everybody, like Feliz Navidad, Feliz Año Nuevo, Dia de los Reyes. Whoever gets the baby Jesus in the rosca, you have to get your tamales from Carla's mom. I promise you, they're like 100 out of 10, like so delicious. And we'll see you for Dia de la Candelaria for the tamalada, because we didn't talk about that one. But if you get the baby Jesus, you have to make the tamalada on February 2nd, Dia de la Candelaria.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Tony. We appreciate you, and this was so fun.
Thank you
Yes,
all.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so much.
sharing. You all have a great one. Happy
You
holidays.
too. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays to everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.